What is going on, you guys? So I made a video the other day on how to mine Scicoin and kind of realized that I had like a mental blip that Scicoin had an ASIC miner that just recently came out, which kind of killed the ability to mine it with GPU. And essentially all that means is just like, your basic miner can't mine anymore. Even though mining in general is kind of like riding a bicycle, once you've done it once, you can kind of do it over and over and over again. It's really simple once you learn it. But I'm just going to make the video a little bit more in depth than I made the last one, but at the same time too, not go into like crazy details about like finding the perfect pool and tweaking your card. That's not what this is about. This is about having a, the hardware and computer already there. Most likely you're probably a computer gamer and you've heard about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. You're like, oh, I want to mine some. How do I do it? I got the hardware, but how do I hop into it? That's really what this video is about. So you're going to need a couple things. You're going to need to figure out A, what coin you want to mine. B, a software to mine it. C, you're going to need a configuration to tell the software, how and where to mine it. You're also going to need a pool. You're going to need to find a pool where to mine it. And all a pool is just a pool of people mining one coin together at the same time rather than what they call solo mining. If you have NVIDIA, you're going to need to have what's called CUDA. And if you have AMD, you're going to need to have what's called OpenCL. I only have NVIDIA, so I'm going to tell you about CUDA, but I think it's the exact same. You just download something for AMD called OpenCL. And then last but not least, you're going to have basically like a GPU software that tells you about your temperature your temperatures for the GPU, and you can also like overclock the memory in the core. I don't overclock anything, so I'm not going to go into that side. So let's go ahead and dive in. I don't want this video to be too long, even though it will be kind of long because it's just hard to condense. And I don't want to go too quickly where everybody just gets confused. So we're going to start here on a website called whattomine.com. There are other mining calculators out there. This is just one that's simple and a lot of people use. And what you're going to do is you're going to pick what your hardware is. So I know a lot of people have like 480s, 580s, maybe the 1060s or 1070s, or maybe even up to 1080s when it comes to gaming. And all you're going to do is you're going to put in a quantity in one of these. So let's say you have, two 1070s that you SLI. By the way, what I've been told, I've never tried this, but what I've been told is don't SLI for NVIDIA and don't crossfire for AMD when it comes to mining. For gaming, that's different, but for mining, they claim you want it separate. I've never tested it out personally, so I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I've been told. So let's assume you have two 1070s. You're going to put the quantity in here. This right here, these are what's called like algorithms for a particular coin. Each coin has its own algorithm. Don't worry about that for now. You just need to know what the algorithm is based on the coin you want to mine. And for 1 second, everybody I know wants to either mine like Ethereum or Bitcoin or whatever, and I say don't. What you want to do is find the most profitable coin to mine, and then you sell it for the coin you want. Because if I went out to mine Bitcoin right now, I wouldn't make any money. But I can mine some like, no-name coin, no-name so to speak, and sell it for a good price and then buy Bitcoin if I want, or buy Ethereum, or buy whatever I want to buy. It doesn't matter. It's just getting a better bang for your buck. That's all you care about. So in this example, I put in two 1070s. I hit this button here, and it turns it green. All of a sudden, you notice that these hash rates, which is the speed in a sense of which you can mine, go up. And so it's telling you roughly your hash rate, your power consumption, your daily cost. I'm not going to touch daily cost right now because everybody's electricity bill is different, and I don't even care about that. I'm just focusing on those people that want to hop in right now, that have the hardware, and they'll figure it out down the road as time goes on if they want to get deeper into this. So at this stage, you've plugged in your hardware, you left all these algorithms checked so you can check it and hit calculate. At this stage, you're going to scroll down, and it's going to tell you, based on what you input there, the best coin to mine right now. So this was claiming Bitcoin Gold. Equihash is the algorithm that it's that it'll be using. Tells you the rewards in 24 hours roughly. The best exchange would be on Binance to sell, and then your revenue and your profit. Again, it's making an estimation based off electricity cost. If you can even add more. So let's say you had 5 of these, hit recalculate. Same thing. You're going to come down here. It's still saying Bitcoin Gold because obviously that at the moment, everything's switching, every second is switching. The moment it's saying that this is roughly what you can make in a 24-hour time frame. Again, everything's fluctuating. Okay, so at this point, I'm, for this example, going to use GoByte, which is this coin right here. It's neoscript is the algorithm, and the reason is I've been mining it for a while. It was doing really well, and then it kind of tanked because everything tanked. But I just left it mining that for the moment, so I'm going to explain to you that for the moment. So now that I know what I'm going to mine GoByte, and my algorithm is neoscript. I need to find first and foremost, let's go ahead and update my drivers. So I'm going to update CUDA. I'm going to make sure this is downloaded. This is for NVIDIA, and again for AMD it's OpenCL. So I'm going to download all this. Pick the Windows, pick whatever you got, download it. And then also update your graphics card drivers just to make sure you're safe. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll be done with that. Then what I'm going to do now, let's see. So I got my CUDA. Then I'm going to find a mining software. So you have different options in here. I had it open and closed. I'm sorry. Let's do this. So CC Miner is one that I've used quite a bit. There's another one called HSR Miner that I've tried out, which is just for neoscript, and HSR, just those two algorithms. But I find for most people, CC Miner is probably the easiest one to hop into. So you're going to pick, the version that you want. I think the version I'm using is this one right here. I don't even know how to pronounce that name, but I believe this is the version I'm using. And when you download it, it'll give you not all these options. This typically won't be in here. I'll explain what those are. Those are my configs. But there's this README file right here, right? So if you go in here, and you can search on Google, but if you go in here, these are all the different algorithms. It says the CUDA accelerated mining application which will handle, and it has all these different algorithms in here, right? Okay. So, and then, specific algorithms. So I will explain in a second how to set up your config for these algorithms, but you need to know that each mining software, the way you put in the algorithm is slightly different, and you'll have to know that. But I'm going to use CC Miner for this example. I'm going to use GoByte, and I'm going to use neoscript. So we have the coin, we have the mining software, we have the algorithm that we want, and now what we need to do is we need to find a mining pool. So GoByte, like I said, is the example. A lot of the websites have a pool menu, and you can pick whatever you want. I won't go into specific details, fully all the details about how to find a pool and which one to pick. I just find ones that typically have a high hash rate, network hash rate, mining towards that particular coin, and a pool also that has a decent amount of traffic, not some pool that just started that doesn't have very much traffic and doesn't have a lot of hash power pushing towards mining the coin, because you don't want to get into some pool that only has 20 people mining that particular coin on that pool. You want to get into a pool that has a decent amount so that you can get your rewards at a steady rate. And so this particular one, we're going to pick Alt Miner, which I have open up over here. The downside of this particular pool is they don't let you do manual payouts is what they call it. This one here, Mining Pool Hub, would. I've used a couple different pools. I just rotate around and try things out. Meaning when, if you wanted to cash out, at a certain point in time, you can manually input it and say, hey, I want to cash out now. This particular pool, it makes you hit a minimum before you can cash out. And even the other one does too. This one makes you hit a minimum, but you, for whatever reason, could leave a bunch on the pool and just keep mining, and then cash out at different times. It's personal preference. But okay, so we got the pool now, we got the coin, we got the algorithm, we got the software. What do we do next? So now you're gonna have to tell the software in a config where you want it to connect to. So this right here, and typically in every pool they're gonna have a setup page. So here, this is their setup page for Zcash, for example. Server settings, it's going to tell me right here, and this one is going to tell me right here. So if I copy this, I open up a notepad, and I paste it in here, I still will have to make some adjustments to this, but this is kind of getting me started. So what is this telling me, and what do I have to adjust? So right now, all it's telling me is where I guess this is, I don't know if O stands for origin, or where it's basically the location in a sense of the server, the Stratum server. But this is the server right here that it's trying to get me to connect it to. I have to change this port right here. Now on this one over here, see there's a port number here, it gives you, but this one, Oh, where'd it go? I don't have a port number on there. So I would have to go over here. I'd have to find the algorithm that my particular coin I want to mine is, tied to. Well, GoByte is tied to NeoScript, okay? But look, I have all these different options, so what the heck do I do? Well, I know that the GoByte, the coin, what do you call that? Like LTC is for Litecoin. The symbol, there you go. The symbol is GBX. So this port tied to GBX is 10,000. So I would go back to my config here. I delete this out and put 10,000. Now, my wallet address, which I don't have in front of me right now, and I'll show you here in a second what to do. But my wallet address I put here, so it's going to be the crazy numbers like that. And then the P for options, typically it'll tell you in here. So let's see, options. An optional password, you can use C symbol. If YIMP is a different thing, a different pool, doesn't set the currency correctly on the wallet page, combine different options with a comma. So D equals, symbol equals, okay, stats. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a different config here, and I'm going to show you one that's been completed. So I want to say it's this one here. Okay. So what I had to do is at the beginning I had to switch this. I had to add in the software CC Miner because I'm telling the config and I'm telling the application open up this software. So I'm opening up CC Miner -x64 because it's the 64 one instead of the 32. -A is algorithm. And by the way, if you need to know more about, let's go back here. It is confusing at the beginning. But it's almost like once you've done it 100 times, and you really don't need to go through all this again. But I'm kind of explaining it to you so you're not like totally lost, like what does this mean? So in the README only section, which is going to be in your, your folder here when you download the CC Miner. This particular one is CC Miner 2.2 Skunk. That's like the version. The README only section in here, and then you can open it up and you can scroll through, and it's going to have definitions. So like dash equals the algorithm, okay? But which algorithm is it? Well, we know it's NeoScript, which is right here. This one says use and mine Feathercoin, but there's also other coins that it mines, which we know, so I put in NeoScript. If you have devices, meaning like, let's say you have, well, it says right here, like a card that's a GTX 780 or GTX 640, and so you can change things up. I'm not going to go into that for the minute, and I'll just go ahead and go back to this. So you tell it first, CC Miner -x64, and for the most part that's going to stay the same, so you can just straight up copy that off this video. I'm sure down the road as the software's update then maybe things will change. The algorithm that we want to mine is going to be -A space and then the algorithm name. So NeoScript is currently what we're mining. If we were mining something else, let's say X17, you would literally just type in X17. That would be it. There's nothing else you're going to change on there. The origin, or the location if you will, of the actual server is going to be this right here, because they've told us that right here. Okay, that's where it's going to be. They didn't tell us the port number, but we did look it up over here. We looked at GoByte, the port number was 10,000, so therefore it's going to be 10,000 space. The username, which is actually our wallet, so this is the particular like wallet address there, we're going to put that in. And then the password, we don't need a password for this particular pool. Some passwords you do. So for example, or some pools you do. This one here, I actually had to make workers, okay? So let's go to workers right here. So this one, you would come in here and you would say worker name. So like, anything you want, doesn't matter. Example, and then password could be, it does not matter what you have. Hit add worker. And now when you make the config, you're going to have usernames, you're going to have workers, you're going to have passwords. It doesn't really matter what you make it. It just matters that when you make the config, you have to tie it in. This particular pool, they don't care about workers. So the passwords, because you don't have to log in, you don't have to create a username. Some pools you do, some pools you don't. This one you don't. So it did say down here, you can put in the symbol, C equals symbol. That way, in case there's like an error issue, it's just everything's good. So I put C equals GBX because that's the symbol of the coin that we want to mine. And then everything's separated with commas. You can see D equals comma, C equals comma, stats. So then what I did is I put my computer name on here. So I just label my computers different names for different things about the computer. A lot of times I'll name it based off a color of the case of the computer, like blue or red or whatever. This was one of my good computers I had, and so I would just label it a good because off the top of my head I knew which computer that was. And I'll explain why in a second. Okay. So at this point, you've basically set up the whole entire config. You have the software, you have the coin you want, you have the algorithm, you know what it is, you have all the hardware, you've set up this config. And all this is just a notepad file. That's it. Nothing else, just a notepad file, okay? But you need to save it as, and you're going to save it in the same location as your mining software. So wherever the CC miner is, save it in that exact same folder. You'll see here I have a bunch of these different saved. I personally save it based off of the coin name and the mining pool that it's in. So for this example here, I am mining GoByte. I'm mining on altminer.net, and I label it as that. But you have to label it as .bat. Now I've already saved it as that, but it has to be labeled as .bat. So the reason is it won't turn into a config if you don't. If you look at this, I'm going to open up a new notepad, and then I'm going to save it as, no, let's go back to, where did I, desktop, here we go, okay. So I'm going to say GoByte, and then altmine, just whatever, and I'm just going to save it just as a text file. Well, if you look at it here, I can double click this, and it's just going to open up as a text file. It's not going to tell the application to run. It needs to tell the application to run. So you have to go in, let's go in, edit, save as .bat, make sure it's in the same folder as the software, hit save, close this, and now there it is right there. I'm going to just go ahead and delete that. Now I'm not going to make this work, I'm going to double click the config file, excuse me, not the application. The application would open and close, and you think, okay, what the heck's going on? The config file is where you're going to double click to start it and open it up. I'm not going to do on this computer right now because this computer can't mine. The graphics card is it's old, jacked up, and plus I couldn't record the video and run at the same time. But that's what you would do. Now to make sure that everything is working fine, you're going to go in here, copy your wallet address, and you're going to come back over to where it says wallet on this particular pool or any other pool that has a wallet spot. And you can see in here I've actually already mined some of this already, so let's show details. I don't know what that is. So it's already showing stuff up, but down here, so currently right now it's only showing 3 computers mining. I have a 4th one on there. Sometimes they go up and down, who knows. And I would typically submit the wallet address in there, but you can already see the wallet address is already in here, so it's kind of like it just saved the URL for that. And then if you start seeing this, the hash rate, and it's telling me what the rates are right here, then that's telling me that it's working. You can also see here it's going to tell me, so this particular computer I'm using has CC miner. This one over here has the HSR miner running with the version. It's also got, I'm letting myself know I'm mining the GoByte, which is right here. I'm letting myself know which particular computer is up and which computer is down. I know which one is down right now because I know which one it is. The algorithm, the difficulty, and the hash rate. Now, there are other things which I'm not going to go into now, which you can like set the difficulty level and everything else, because when you start to mine, your difficulty starts at a certain point and it like adjusts itself. I'm sure somebody could come in the comments and tell me, you know, like here's how you find the levels of difficulty that you need to be at faster, and you can do other things to tweak things. I'm not looking to optimize in this video. I'm looking to show you how to start mining like today, right now, and then you can do some more research on how to optimize your system and setup. But over time, maybe give it 5-10 minutes. You'll start to see the hash rate in here. You'll see your worker show up in here. See, it says worker in here. Start to show your worker in here. I guess I could label worker somewhere in my config. So I guess that's something I didn't do, but it doesn't really matter because I've labeled it here basically. And then my earnings, it's going to show in here. So these have all cleared, and these have been confirmed, and these are immature at this point. And so at this stage, there's really not much to do, but I did kind of skip a step, and I apologize for that. There are a couple things. So when you go to mine, it's going to look like this, basically on CC Miner. And again, I'm not running on my computer right now, so you can't see, but this literally is what the CC Miner would look like. It will start off, it'll say accepted, meaning it's accepted it's not a coin, but like the share, and it shows the difficulty level, shows if it's passed, and it shows the hash rate here. This hash rate should be equivalent to something down in here of what you're seeing on these down here. So if they should match up in theory, or at least close enough. The other thing you're going to do is download something called MS Afterburner, and most people download that. You can use different things, but that's the one I typically use too, because you don't want your temperatures to be crazy too hot. I mean, you think about it, this thing's going to be running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, if you want it to run that long. And you don't want this thing to be slammed at like, 80 degrees Celsius all the time. At least that's not me personally. So you can adjust the power limits. This is just a picture, but you can adjust the power limits in here. Temperature limits in here, and you can lower it so that way it will, peg the limit that you put it to, but it won't go past that. So you always know that you're keeping your temperature levels at a safe point. If you're going to overclock, I'm not going to talk about that. Go look on videos on how to overclock things, but always pay attention to your temperatures because you do not want to burn any cards. Then you'd be really mad at me. Let's see. One of the last but not least things, I always install the core temperature. Just sometimes, like certain softwares will do CPU plus GPU mining. I don't currently right now, but you just want to make sure for whatever reason that you don't like slam your CPU super hot because it's trying to use that too, and then you fry something. So I always put protection on my CPU and protection on my GPU, so I really don't fry anything. I keep mine like mining at a very low temperature on everything else. If you run into any issues where you get confused, you get lost, number one, you can leave a comment in my video. I'll try my best to answer it. I don't have all the answers, all the solutions. I literally just self-taught myself how to do this. Kind of taught myself in a day or two, just kind of go in the blogs, and it started working. I did run into issues, and most of the issues came down to basically, let's see, which one was it? Like this in here. Usually this was either wrong, or there was like a space in here or something. It was just usually something like odd in here. And I just kept trying it until I got it to work. So if you run into an issue, that's usually where the problem is. Not always, but usually that's the problem. Last but not least, if you have any other questions, usually cryptominingblog.com. I have no affiliation with it whatsoever, but they actually have a decent job they go through all sorts of mining stuff. I basically found CC miner through here. I found the HSR miner through here. Like they're just kind of always up to date on anything mining related. It's above and beyond anything and everything I personally know, but a lot of my answers come from here. If you can't find it here, then you can always go to bitcointalk.org or just anywhere on the internet and just ask questions. Most people are pretty friendly in the crypto space to try to help you out. Okay, I know that was a lot, and I hope I A, didn't go too fast, or B, didn't skip anything. I think I covered everything, but once you've done it once, just to kind of show you, you can see in here I've just done a ton of different coins over the, literally over the last 6-7 months, just trying different things out on different pools. This one, this one's Lyra 2v2 on a mining pool hub. Let's see. This one's on a Kali pool. You can see they're almost all the same thing. This one was a skunk algorithm, and I actually had this one forced me to do different devices because I had two cards. Also, I set up CPU priority. So I mean, there's all sorts of different things you can adjust and do. But what I showed you today just now, for the most part, should get you up and running tonight. And then you can start tweaking from there and watching other videos that will go way further in detail than what I told you. But hopefully this video at least gets you started, and I was the first one to help you out. That would be awesome. If you like this video and if you get mining on a particular coin, I would love to hear about it. And if that all happens, I would also love if you could subscribe to my video and give me a like and a thumbs up. If this didn't make sense and you're confused, ask me a question in the comments below. And if you really hated the video, which I hope you didn't, but if you did, give me a thumbs down and tell me why you didn't like it and what I could have done to improve my videos, because I only want to put stuff out there that is worth your time, because it takes my time too. So thanks guys, hope you have a great weekend, great night, and I will be putting out a new video another day. Bye.